everyone, it's Kino here. Thanks for tuning in to Living the Yogi's Life, where I translate the lessons that I learn on my yoga mat into my everyday life, and I inspire you, hopefully, to do the same thing. Sometimes in your yoga practice, it might feel like you reach a block or an obstacle, like everything's almost against you. Like you feel like, wow, my hip is really tight, and no matter what I do, I can't get it to open. When you reach these obstacles in the practice, it's really easy to think about fighting against them and fighting with your hip joint to force it to open. Or if you can't do a handstand or an inversion, sometimes it's easy to think about how you can force your body into these things. I was like that when I started the practice. I was not a naturally patient person. I'm more someone who makes a list of goals and wants them to happen yesterday. I almost feel like when I make those lists of goals or when I'm focusing on a part of my body, I have this desire to have already had them happen. So I'm that impatient. It's like I want the list to be done before I've even experienced it. And I don't know if you're as impatient as I am. When you reach those blocks or those obstacles in your practice, it's really easy to think about forcing the hip to open, or even just to have that slight attitude of aggression towards yourself that says, hey, I want the hip to open and it's got to open according to my terms, and here are the 10 things that I'm going to do to get my hip to open. And unfortunately, the body doesn't respond like that. Your body needs a safe space to open. And the first thing that you can do to create the safe space of the practice is to pause, relax, and practice simply being with your body exactly as it is. So if your hip feels tight, you let it be tight. And then you keep doing the practice. And slowly, as your body feels more comfortable, as you continue to show up on your mat, there'll be a way forward that's presented. And that way forward is often more subtle and less linear than our logical minds would really like. But if you continue to do the practice, you'll develop sort of a subtle sense of how to listen with the inner body. And that'll apply to every aspect of your life. A student recently asked me a really touching question. She was a young woman and she asked me how to make decisions in her life. So how do you make decisions in your life if you live the yogi's life? I knew I had to share that today on this video blog because that's something, a piece of wisdom that I wish that I had when I was starting not just my yoga journey, but really my whole life's journey. When I was younger and I used to make goals for what I wanted to attain in my life, I would also think about, 10 different things that I could do today to get that done. And I would sort of overachieve and I'd make myself really busy and I'd focus on getting everything done as fast as I possibly could. Now, through the practice of yoga, I think I found a different way to still show up and put in the work every day, but not to force. So what's that new way? Well, the new way is listening, to listen with the wisdom of the heart. And that's what I'd like to share with you today. So you put your goals and your dreams out there. Say you're on the precipice of making a really big decision. Like you're deciding where to go to school, you're deciding whether to stay in a relationship, or you're deciding whether to take a really important job offer. Instead of just thinking about it with your mind and sort of thinking about it rationally, that level of your voice where it's up here with all of your preferences, your likes and dislikes, and sort of that inner dialogue that's in your mind. See if you can listen with your heart, if you can drop down and wait for the wisdom of your heart to speak to you. Because that's a deeper way of relating with not just your body, but with every aspect of your life. And I kind of feel like our dreams need space really to come into reality, just like our body needs the healing safe space to open. So if you fight for it a little bit too much, and you'll block yourself down to attaining the dreams that you really want in your life. So here's how you can listen and really learn to listen with your heart. If you have a yoga practice, at the end of your yoga practice, when you're lying in the final relaxation, set that dream or intention out there, but don't think too much about it. Just let everything go, let everything relax, and tune into your heart center. And don't try to feel anything, don't look for anything really particular, just wait, be patient, and let the way be revealed to you. Give that wisdom a chance to sort of burble up from your heart, and you'll hear it, and it'll feel right because it'll feel true, and you'll feel joyous when you hear it. The second way that you can listen with your heart is when you're going around your day, say you're traveling or you're driving, let your mind sort of free wander and free associate for a moment. You might get an epiphany moment, kind of like a click, and something will sit right and it will ring really, really true for you, and it'll ring down from your heart. Not with your mind like, well, you think it's the right decision, it'll just feel right. The third way that you can think about listening with the heart is if you've cultivated a seated meditation practice for as little as 5 minutes each day. If you take a moment to pause and reflect, and then listen with the heart without any expectation. It won't happen in one day, it might not even happen in a week, it might take months or even years for the quiet voice of your heart to break through all of the radio static of the mind. But it'll come through one day, and when it does, you'll know it, and you'll know that it's the truth of your inner being, your true self, the heart center, the spiritual seat of wisdom. I feel like our spiritual inheritance is really the wisdom of the heart. And then the more that we can tune into that, the more that you can experience the truth of who you really are. And then that will, of course, guide you into all of your dreams coming into reality. Sometimes the hardest step in making our dreams come true is believing that we're worthy of them, believing that we are the beautiful people, the worthy people of the success that we dream of. Sometimes we look at other people and we say, hey, I get how the success could happen for them, or I get how it could all work for them, but not for me. So we block ourselves. But the wisdom of the heart will tell you that you're worthy and that you're on the right course. When you start listening to that, the resistance of your life, all of those blockages that you feel, will start to move away. And if your hip feels tight, well, it won't feel like it's a big obstacle anymore. It'll just be that that's your hip, and you'll be all right with it. And you'll be able to confidently walk down the road of the yogi's life. Think about that each time you find yourself blocked with a decision, whether you don't know to go to the right, to the left, forward, or backwards. Don't move. Don't take any decision from that space. Pause, tune into the wisdom of the heart, and just wait, however long it takes for that way to be revealed to you. Let your life be guided by that wisdom instead of forced by the mind. And you'll experience a freedom that comes only through humility, when you recognize that you don't have all the answers, nor should you. You can't control everything, nor should you. Instead, you wait for what I like to think of as grace to really work through you. And that kind of comes, again, from that listening space in the heart. So the next time you feel an obstacle, I hope you're inspired to take a few breaths and tune into the wisdom of the heart and let your yoga practice guide you to a more peaceful life. Thanks for joining me today. Namaste.